On Friday, Pennsylvania Senate candidate Dr. Mehmet Oz's campaign aired last Tuesday's Pennsylvania Senate debate with opponent John Fetterman on a digital billboard outside of a fundraiser attended by President Biden, further fanning the flames in an already contentious contest. Fetterman's performance in the debate was rocky following concerns about his health amidst his recovery from a stroke. Following the less than stellar debate performance, Fetterman's campaign and other Democrats have focused on Dr. Oz's controversial comments on abortion being between a woman, her doctor, and a lawmaker. In the 24 hours following the debate, Fetterman's campaign raised over $2 million.
Meanwhile, Latino voters in Pennsylvania are still leaning Democrat, but locally and nationally, support for the party continues to decline. According to a recent NBC News Telemundo poll, 38% of polled Latinos in Pennsylvania favor Republican stances on the economy compared to 34% who support Democrats. For most other issues, however, the polled voters did side with policies enacted by Democrats. Joining us to discuss is the CEO of the U.S. Hispanic Business Council, Javier Palomarez. Welcome, Javier.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great to have you with us. And you hosted a separate town halls with the candidates, Fetterman and Oz, about economic issues and how they impact the Latino community. Why don't you tell us more about how those events went?
Well, as you look at the midterms, the Hispanic vote, I think, is going to be a deciding factor in states like Arizona, Georgia, Nevada, and certainly Pennsylvania. Our discussion with both candidates was centered around kind of the meat and potato issues that all Americans are dealing with: the economy, jobs, tech regulation, energy, specifically in the state of Pennsylvania. We found both conversations to be very illuminating. We heard things we weren't expecting to hear from both of these candidates. They were both very engaging. The United States Hispanic Business Council advocates on behalf of the 4.8 million Hispanic-owned firms in this country that collectively contribute over $800 billion to the American economy. In the state of Pennsylvania, we polled a little over 4,000 Hispanic business owners, got some questions from them, and those were the questions we posed of the two candidates.
So Fetterman, obviously this was coming off the heels of a debate in which Fetterman was widely believed to have done very poorly. You could see just from how he was able to articulate, it was obvious that his recovery from his stroke, is affecting his ability to communicate. A lot of painful, awkward moments in that debate. How did he handle things when he talked with you? And why don't you share, you were telling us before we started filming, what he said about fracking in particular?
First of all, in terms of his condition, I'll tell you that in the conversation before and after, and certainly during the town hall, he was funny, he was lucid. You could still see some traces, but he went into detail on a lot of the issues that we talked about. I pressed him specifically on his position on, a traditional energy, on oil and gas, on fracking. And I was taken by his willingness to embrace fracking. I asked him, if elected Lieutenant Governor, would you support fracking? And he literally said, absolutely. He went on to talk a bit more about, hey, listen, within certain confines, which anybody would have done. But I was taken by the fact that, he illustrated to me and said to me, listen, if elected, I need to do the will of the people. My job is to lead and govern and regulate on behalf of the people who put me in this job. And I'm hearing from them that energy is incredibly important to the state of Pennsylvania. I don't think enough Americans recognize that Pennsylvania ranks second only after Texas in terms of, the capture of natural gas and oil and gas exploration. So as Pennsylvania goes, certainly so does the northeastern quadrant of the United States and maybe many other states in the U.S.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we're hearing from you about Fetterman's performance, because to me it always seemed very likely that he had good days and bad days, as anybody recovering from a traumatic episode has, and that, sometimes he showed up better than others. And so it's great to hear from you that you had this sort of firsthand experience of him on a better day. You know, the narrative from the left that there's no problems and the narrative from the right that he's totally incapable of serving seem both to be wrong. I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit about why you think the Democrats are in so much trouble with Hispanic voters. You know, which side do you see as being better for businesses, for Hispanic businesses? Talk to us about that a little bit.
Batya, I got to begin by saying that you know, I hate it because I'm a Democrat, lifelong Democrat. They'll probably bury me a Democrat. But the reality of it is, in times like these, I'll begin first with Hispanic businesses, Hispanic business owners. You know, we're dealing with a witch's brew of challenges. You've got, you know, rising interest rates. You've got inflation that's gone through the roof. Energy costs have gone absolutely, they skyrocketed. And as energy goes, so does everything else: distribution, warehousing, transportation, cosmetics, asphalt, farming fertilizer. I mean, the list goes on. Everything goes up when energy goes up. We're looking at a recession looming. We've got the holidays coming, and we're still struggling, frankly, with supply chain challenges. So you've got all of that going on in an election year. You've got Hispanic businesses disproportionately suffering from those challenges. And so, you know, no one should be surprised that you're seeing an exodus of Hispanics leaving the Democratic Party and looking to the Republican Party for hopefully some solutions. In a broader context, if you widen the lens and you look at the Hispanic population overall, I mean, Hispanics represented 53% of the overall growth of the nation. The total growth of the population of the United States, 53% of it came from the Hispanic community alone. As we stand today, there are more Hispanics in this nation than there are African Americans and Asians combined. But the Democratic Party has done woefully poorly in terms of recognizing that, speaking to that, staying in contact and learning what the real issues are, you know, with the Hispanic community. At times like these, as I said, we worry about the meat and potatoes issues like inflation and mortgage rates and jobs and the economy. And historically, the Republican Party has done a better job of focusing on those issues. So it's very natural that you would see our community start to look to Republicans for the solutions they need.
Well, Javier, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Have a great day.
We'll have more Rising right after this.